Hi everybody, how are you doing? It's been a while since I've recorded. I do apologize. But I'm here now. Who's it? We like it. I wanted to do a story time because it's Renee's birthday today. She's 17 years old. I was 17 when I had her and she's 17 today. So it's a very special birthday. So I thought I'd do a little story time and then tell you a bit about my pregnancy and my birth because it happened today. But I'm going to colour my hair while I'm doing it. 2 birds, 1 stone. So I'm going to do that while I chat to you guys. So I hope you don't mind. So I was a young mom. Okay. I was actually 16. And I turned 17 in October and then I had her in February. Which is now the 8th. Okay. And it was a rather... So I'm going to look in the mirror while I'm doing this because I need to see what I'm doing. I need to add Vaseline because I'm prone to dye most of my face instead of my pip. But anyway, so yeah, my pregnancy, of course, at a young age was difficult. And it was rather a sad time, should I say. Not really a sad time, but sorry about the lighting going on and off as well. I've got you guys in a weird position. But it's not something that was planned. And of course, with that being said, I didn't get the chance to experience the joys of pregnancy as what most moms would experience. And I think a lot of young moms can relate to the story. But I never got the chance to get excited, with my partner and, to plan it, get excited that the pregnancy test was positive, celebrate that fact, break the news to the family, and everybody's like, you're pregnant, I'm so excited, and have mom and dad cry over it. Like it was a secret, because when I found out I was pregnant, I kept it a secret for months and months and months. And, I need that lid. Sorry, BRB. Where the hell did that lid go? I needed to make a hole. Ow! Okay, got it. Sorry about... Look how white it goes because of the lighting. So, I was in P at the time that I was pregnant. And I wanted to write my parents individually and my grandparents a letter. Because I was actually leaving to go to stay with my mom in Pietermaritzburg. That I was indeed pregnant. However, sorry about that, Claire. However, it just planned out that someone else told them I was pregnant before I could get a chance. Because while I was writing these letters to each person, I then put them in my bag. But this person saw me writing these letters and then went into my bag and read them and, of course, told their parents, and then that's how it came out. But by this time, I was reading Pietermaritzburg. And my plan was to actually post the letters to them because I was so freaking scared. I was freaking out, man. So by the time they obviously found out and had enough time to cool off and, whatever the case might be, because I'm not too sure if they were angry. They must have been disappointed. But anyway, they had enough time to cool off. So by the time they actually called me, it was just a matter of them wanting me to get back down to PE so that they could help me, because my mom was alone in Pietermaritzburg. I had no other family there, and they thought what was best for me and my unborn child at the time was to come back down, which was definitely the right move. So this, I must have been about 7 months pregnant when they found out, and I hid it as best I could. And then I left and I came down from Pietermaritzburg with just a baby bath and 1 suitcase, because the plan was to have the baby, get the help, and then move back to my mom. However, when that all happened and I had Renee, I never heard from my mom for a while, so I just stayed in PE with my dad. And then ended up staying with my dad for 3 months, and then I moved in with my gran up until the age, I think she was 3 or 4. So I lived with my gran the entire time, and she helped me. God bless that woman. She has been there for all of her kids and her grandkids, so I was very lucky that she helped me. And yeah, I literally came back with a suitcase, a small suitcase that I never had any maternity clothes. So besides the fact that I never had the planned pregnancy, the excitement around it. I never had a baby room. I never had maternity clothes. I wore my grand's shirts and pants during my last 2 months of pregnancy because I couldn't fit into my clothes, and hence the small bag with minimal stuff in it. And even in the hospital, the day that I gave birth to Renee, I was wearing my grand's pajamas. And Renee came, well, because I was, keeping my pregnancy a secret, I never went for all my tests and stuff. So we couldn't really tell when she was due to be born. So the day, today, when I gave birth to her 17 years ago, I was actually due to go for, what am I doing? I'm typing this stuff out. I was actually due to go for a gynecologist appointment, and I jumped in the shower at 4 o'clock because my appointment was just after 4, just before 5 or 3:30, and it was somewhere around 4:30. And when I jumped into the shower, I felt like I needed to poo, but I didn't need to poo because I sat in the toilet, and I never needed to poo. So I showered, got ready for the appointment, and when I got out, I said to my gran, Nini, I feel like I need to poo, but I don't need to poo. And I'm having like these feelings of like this pain going from my back into the front of my stomach. And Renee, and my gran was like, Robin, I think you're going into labor, my girl. So I was like, okay, cool. She's like, phone your father and just tell your father to take you down to St. George's just in case. So my dad came and he fetched me. So we got there. Sorry about the noise. So we got there. And when I got there to the hospital, I was walking in, and as I was walking in, my mom's friend, Tippin, hi Tippin, she was walking out, and she was like, oh hey Robs, how you doing? You know what you're doing here? And I'm like, well, I think I'm giving birth. I think I'm in labor. I'm not too sure. My gran thinks I'm in labor, so we're here just to check. So I don't have a brush. I'm using my paintbrush. My paintbrushes are used for everything. So she's like, can I come with you? So I said, of course, come with me, because flip, it was just what I thought was just maybe like a little false alarm, So off we go in and everything, and the woman checks me and they say, no, you dilated, you're ready to give birth, okay? But she says to me that we're gonna have to break your water, okay? My water didn't break, so it wasn't like the movies. I didn't get to experience any dripping or any, gushing out. Like, I was excited to have that part happen, but it didn't happen. So they broke my water, and it was like a tsunami, okay? Like, the floodgates opened. It was intense, okay? And it was only when that happened that I experienced contractions. And man, oh man, that was painful. It was... all the saliva in my mouth disappeared. Like, I understand now, wow, when in the movies they're like, do you want ice chips? And, all these pregnancies, do you want ice chips? Because, man, I had like no freaking saliva in my mouth from every contraction. It just felt like I was having cotton mouth of notes. So anyway, then they told me to walk from the room that I was in to the birthing room. And I thought that Renee was going to fall out my cooker. I held my hands by my cooker, and I walked to this area hoping that this child wasn't going to fall out of me and land up, dropping on her on the head, And when I got there, they laid me on the bed, and I just said to the nurse, I'm so scared I poo myself. And I know it's a natural thing, but it's 17 years old. Besides all of this happening to you, you don't know what the muri is going on, and you're freaking scared. Besides all of that, I wasn't worried about the pain. I was worried about pooing my pants or pooing on the table. That for me was like the scariest thing or the most embarrassing thing that possibly could happen right now. So I'm on the birthing table. No, I'm talking nonsense, guys. Just rewind a few minutes. So when my dad got there and they checked that I was dilated, he said to me, I don't have a camera, because now it's happening. We just thought it was a false alarm. We're going for a checkup. He's like, I don't have my camera. So I said, well, Dad, these women are in labor for hours. There's more than enough time. And even the nurse said more than enough time. So we went to St. George's. He had to drive to Lorraine to get the camera. So she said, there's going to be more than enough time. So off he goes and he leaves me. So I'm walking to the birthing room and everything. And the next minute she says, no, it's going to happen. Okay. And she said, you're going to feel every urge to want to push, but do not push until I tell you when to push, okay? Guys. Okay, I need to concentrate here because I'm talking more than anything. So, she says, okay, push. I pushed, and it must have been about the third or the fourth push, okay? Renee's head came out, and then she had to push again, and when her shoulders came out, I literally felt my hip separate. It was the most alien-like experience of my life. Besides the pain, I could feel my hips shifting with inside of me, okay? And then Renee was born. That when my dad got to get his camera, Renee was already here. Like, it happened so quickly. And I felt so bad for my dad because he was so upset that he had left to get the camera, but unbeknown to him and us at the time that we thought we had it at the time, we actually did it. It was such a quick labor and birth that I think she was born just before 7. So between the time it took for me to finish my shower, get out, drive down there, meet the friend, have my water broken, walk into this room and pushing her out, it was a matter of a few hours. The quickest birthing ever. And she was 3.0.2 kgs. And I remember them asking me before, are you going to breastfeed? And I said yes. And they said, okay, well then what we're going to do is when we birth her, we're going to put her on your chest so that she can be by your boobies and smell the milk. She said it to me, smell the milk. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I think because I was so young, the way they wanted to I don't know, smell my milk. I don't know. It was weird. And when they put Renee on me, she was like blue and purple and full of slime and stuff. And I just remember counting her fingers, counting her toes, looking at her face, and I was completely freaked out. And I said, okay, you can take her. I was like, I didn't want to touch her. I didn't want to kiss her. She was so small and she looked so fragile that I was scared I was going to break her if I touched her. Or I do remember touching her arm, and it was so soft and squishy. And I was like, if I pick her up, her skin's going to like fall off. I was like having mad fears, like this child's just going to like dissolve if I have to pick her up. Weird, I know. Sorry. And then they cleaned her up and everything, and they wheeled me off, and I went to a shower and everything, and they brought her to the room, and it was amazing. It was honestly I was so stressed out about having this child. Okay, look here, going back, because I know this is a bit all over the place, but I'm distracted because I'm dyeing my hair. When I just before I fell pregnant, okay, I was going through a hell of a rough patch in my life. An extremely dark, toxic, very bad stage of my life, phase of my life. And I remember it like it was yesterday when I prayed, which must have been the first time in a long time. And I just prayed and I said, I need to be saved. I need something to happen. Well, I don't even know if I said something to happen. I just said something needs to happen in my life. I need to be saved because I'm going to end up dead. I'm going to end up dead in a gutter because my life was going down such a bad path at such a young age. Because I don't want to get into it right now. But yeah, it was only my friends at the time obviously knew what I was going through somewhat. But my family and stuff didn't know. I mean, I kept my life a secret, really. I mean, I kept my pregnancy a secret, so my life was just as much a secret, you know. And, oh no, I'm melting. Hold on. My stuff's melting. It's so bloody hot that my stuff is melting on my face, my Vaseline. So I prayed and I said, look, I need something to save me. Unbeknown to me that my prayers were answered in the craziest of ways, which was falling pregnant and having Renee. Because when I had her, my whole outlook, my whole mindset, my whole being changed within those few minutes of seeing her. And at the time when I was pregnant, I'm like, this is the worst thing that could have ever have happened to me. My life is over. What are people going to think? You know, I'll rather be dead. You know, like, how can this happen to me? Out of everything, you know, I swore I would not be a young mom, because my mom was young as well when she had me. My mom was 15 and turned 16 when she had me. And I always preached and vowed that I would never be like my mom and be a young pregnant mother. Never say never. Never is a long word. You never get a chance to say never without that word getting called before something actually happens and you literally jinx yourself. And I know I'm going to go a bit deep now, because religion's a very soft and sensitive subject. But for my personal experience, I understand completely now how prayers are answered in the most weirdest of ways and unexplained ways that are the best for you. That you pray and you think, I want this to happen. I want to be rich. I want to be a millionaire. But you pray about it and a job opportunity happens. And you take this job, for example, and you do so well at it that you work your way up. The next minute, you know, you're freaking the CEO of this company and you are balling. You're making so much money and you're comfortable in your life. And you might not be a millionaire, but you're comfortable. And that is your prayer being answered. It's not answered where, I want to be a millionaire. You're going to go buy a lot's ticket and you're going to scratch it and then you're going to be a millionaire. Maybe it works for some people, but not for everyone. Your prayers are answered in a way that's best for you at the time of what you need and in how God wants you to have that. Maybe I'm not explaining it right, but I think that's why a lot of people give up on prayer or don't believe in prayer, because people are, first of all, very impatient and they want what they want. And when I said I wanted to be saved, who at 17, first of all, says, you know, okay, I want to be saved, you know, bless me with a baby at this young age, giving up all my innocence and all my youth and everything to look after another where I could barely look after myself. But yet for me in my situation, it was the best thing that ever happened, because I would have been with the wrong people, you know, doing the wrong things and landing up going down a darker path than I was already on, which could have landed me up in a lot of trouble or even dead. So when I asked to be saved, I was blessed with Renee, and as cliche as what it sounds, she saved my life. And she would ask me, because she's also a very curious cat and very smart for her age, she used to always say, Mom, if you could ever change anything in your life, would you? And I said, I wouldn't change a damn thing. Even though things didn't work out with her and her dad, and things might have been toxic, and I had some bad luck and whatever I was after, I still wouldn't regret that relationship, because the relationship gave me her. As toxic as what that relationship was and whatever it did to me later on in life that I still have issues with that I can't get over, I still wouldn't change it for the world. Because Renee would not be the person that she is today if I had her with another, or had her when I did. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy then being a young mom and finding a job. Like, nothing was easy about it. Nothing at all. But I'm still grateful. I'm still grateful for everything that led up to that point where I asked for help. And I'm grateful for everything that happened thereafter and how different my life might be. And I might sometimes complain to myself and be like, oh, I wish I was in a certain place in my life, or I wish things were different in terms of my financial aspect, but my life is great. You don't realize how much you've got until something like your daughter's 17th birthday comes around and you start thinking back and you start seeing her as a young woman and how amazing she is, and you know how much light and love and laughter she brings to people, and how much joy she brought to my family, and how much of everything she brought to mine. It's just, it makes you realize that money can be made. Memories and people can't just be made and replaced. You can't go buy someone. You can't go buy a new life. You can entertain a good life, but your life will always be empty and have something missing. But I'm not saying go have children, otherwise you'll have an empty life. Don't get me wrong. just for me and mine. I'm talking about me personally. Yeah, guys, so that's why I think also if I ever had to have another baby, I would love to have everything I never had with Renee, but then I also feel guilty for wanting that because I never had it with her. Like, she never had a chance to have her own crib and her own baby room and her, you know, her own space and her own everything, you know. But I'm so happy I have her in my life. And I know every mom is proud and every mom thinks they're lucky to have the children that they have. But guys, I'm not trying to show off, but I think I might have been favorited. I might have been added to the favorite list when they were giving out babies and stuff, and they were like, okay, we're gonna point this baby to this person in our simulation. I think they made a mistake because they gave me a good one. I'm too lucky to actually have her. I mean, I might not be the best mom. I'm learning and I'm growing, you know, as we go. And no matter what I do and what I've done in my past, or I feel like I was really lucky that I had her. Out of all the sperms that could possibly have gone into my ear that day, that was the best one. You know, when Renee was a baby, okay, first of all, because I'm a young mom, everybody used to freak me the F out. You didn't have to wake up every 2 hours for feeds. The child was crying non-stop. If they've got colic, they cried this. And then, you know, this, and they freaked me out. And yeah, we are in the hospital, and I'm waiting for this 2 hour, like, cryathon, you know, every 2 hours feeding. This child slept. They were to wake her up for feeds, okay? Remember when I took her home, I would wake her up on purpose just so she could be awake, so I could look at her and have her eyes look back at me. And she was such a good baby, okay? And my favorite age was 3 months, because I would wake up before her, obviously, because Madam Fifi wants to sleep the whole time. And I would look down into the crib, and as she saw me, she would smile and she would stretch, and her whole back would curve, and she would make like a perfect little C. And the whole time while she's stretching, she's smiling, she's getting like red in the face. But then when she was done, she just like had a smile on her face. I have so many good memories of waking up before her and seeing her like that. And I never got a chance to have terrible twos. Honestly, she was so well behaved. Like, we would go visit people, I'd say, okay, Renee, remember your manners and remember this and that and that. And she was so good. She was so well behaved. Yes, in her teens, she had a hiccup, you know, but if she didn't have a hiccup, then I would have thought she was a robot, and she was literally cloned from something out of this world, because she was too good to be true. And she got out of that phase of her life and stronger than ever, and she is such a beautiful human and character and soul, and I'm just so blessed. I'm so incredibly blessed to be a mother to that girl, to that young lady, should I say, because 17 now, you know, and she's big. She's too big for a damn boot sometimes, but hey, at least I know she's got her head screwed on right and she wants things in life. So I don't take it as an insult. The boots can be worn at all times. Yeah, and I didn't eat my placenta. We didn't know about stuff like that back then. When it came out of me, guys, I was so scared because I never knew about that. I never knew you had to birth your placenta. That thing came out like this. It looked like a praying mantis coming out my vajiji. It was quite, because at that time I was already propped up. I know I'm speaking all over the show, but I was propped up, and then she said, you need to push to get the placenta out. And that thing came out me like alien, Sigourney Weaver. Like, that is where that thing that gets stuck on the face, I think that's where it comes from, that placenta. I think that guy that wrote that movie saw that placenta and said, good glory. Imagine that thing was an alien and it just went onto the birthing bed and jumped up at you and sucked your soul out or whatever, or your insides. I think that's where it came from anyway. Because that thing was freaking crazy. And I also didn't know about epidural. I never knew the effects of it, what the side effects were, or, you know, so when they offered it to me as well before I gave birth, Again, sorry, I'm jumping around. I just said, how will it affect my baby? And I took so long to come with a decision that they said to me, it's actually too late because you're about to give birth, but we can offer you gas. But at the time, the gas mask wasn't, I couldn't pull through the gas. So me, gave 100% natural birth. Painkiller, epidural, gas mask, free birth. So when I'm also bringing myself down and I'm having a hard time and my depression and anxiety kicks in, I should remind myself, I should lift my shirt up and look at my stretch marks and remind myself what a tough freaking cookie I am, because I gave birth without painkillers, natural birth. I did that myself. Me. I pushed that watermelon out my cooker. Me. All me. So I'm tough. If I can handle birth, I can handle anything. So if you've had birth, natural birth, or if you've even carried a kid for 9 months, you're tough. You're a tough cookie. If you're having a bad day, just remember that you're a woman and you're freaking awesome. And even if you haven't had a freaking baby, you're a woman and you have ovaries and you have a menstrual cycle that pains like a mother trucker. So you're also freaking stronger than anything that can come your way, because the menstrual pains are a doozy. But anyway, I need to check what the time is. What's the time, guys? Does anybody know what time I started this video? What time I finished my bola on my head? I need to rinse this out. I think I've got time. I think I'm going to show you that suitcase that I came down with. I'm going to go find it quickly.